First one is what? Underline important info. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab your pencils. Let's do this in your math notebook. So in this week's football game, now I'm being smart. I'm realizing, oh, we can compare people or we can compare like weeks, things like that. But let's just ignore that for now. In this week's football game, this is important, Stephen 4 times the number of minutes he played in last week's game. He played 24 minutes. How many minutes did he play last week? So we're underlining how many minutes did he play last week. Okay? All right, so all of a sudden I'm thinking, wait, who are the two people we're comparing? Stephen and I'm looking and not finding anyone else. So that all of a sudden means I know it's comparing because it says 4 times something else. All of a sudden I realize, oh, it's not really Stephen we're comparing as much as it is his performance this week versus what? Last week. All of a sudden now I go, oh, that's important to underline. So I'm going to go back up now and go, okay, this week, Stephen 4 times in last week's game. So basically, this week, Stephen played 4 times more than in last week's game. All of a sudden, now I know what the two things are that I'm comparing. Okay? So, how many minutes did he play last week? So let's go ahead and start. Oh, wait, what about this? He played 24 minutes this week. So we need to get this 2 on here. All right, what's a good math person doing as far as making little notes or codes? What do we want to write right away? Chase?
4 times.
Nice. Tell him, man, you're smart.
Man, you're smart.
So let's put our little 4x there. That's our reminder. So you tell me something. I know I need to write an equation. What are we going to put above this little guy? A little equal sign. Good. So I need to remember, oh, what numbers go first? How many times always goes? First. How many times always goes?
First.
Say the whole thing. How many times always goes?
First.
So here we go. 4 times as many. Let's go ahead and look at our window template. Look at what this says. How many times? Over here we have how many times? 4 times. Let's go ahead and write our template. 4 times blank equals blank. We're always going to create our template to help us fill in the blanks. You're all super smart and can do this, but we have to slow down, make the template, and label. Let me show you what I mean. Who does this 4 times belong to, or what does the 4 times belong to? So let's go back up. This week, Stephen played 4 times. So we're comparing this week versus what? Last week. So we have to look. And right here it says last week, not next week. This week versus last week. Who does the 4 times belong to, or what? This week, Stephen played 4 times. So right under 4 times, we're going to write this. You're going to have to write sort of small. And I'm going to do WK because we're a little short on space. We'll know that that means this week. It's like abbreviations. Okay? Hold on for the model. All right, so now we need to realize what's going to go in the next space, the next line. So here's the thing we want to remember. Ready? We're always comparing this versus someone else. We're comparing this week versus what? Last week. We're comparing this week versus
Last week.
this week versus
Last week.
this week versus
Last week.
These can never be the same. Look at this template. I want to remind you about this. If Cody scored 4 times the amount as Cody, that doesn't make sense. He can't score 4 times more than himself unless it was separate time periods. And we're not really comparing him, we're comparing last week versus this week. But Cody's name can't be in both these spots. It has to be one thing or person versus another thing or person. Right? In this case, it's this week versus what?
Last week.
Let's go ahead and write who we're comparing against. This week versus last week. So we're comparing 2 things or 2 time periods. Okay? Now's the next part to be aware of. 4 times as many isn't really an answer. If I say, hey Jacob, how many baskets did you make? And he goes, 4 times as many as the other person. We'd be like, huh? That doesn't tell us anything. And then we go, oh, hey Maddie, how many points did you get? She's like, oh, 4 times as many as that other girl. We'd be like, okay, that doesn't really help us any. Where's your real number? What's your real amount? So ready? Watch. The real answer to the times as many goes there. Don't circle this on yours, just watch. The real answer to this goes there. The real answer to this goes where?
There.
The real answer to this goes where?
There.
The real answer to how many times as many goes where?
There.
The answer to 4 times, what 4 times really is, goes where?
There.
So that means if this is how many minutes he played this week, the real answer of how many minutes he played is right where? There. So if this says this week, this is also going to say this week. Go ahead and label that. So these are the same, and these are always the opposite. They're the comparing ones. But the real answer to this is where?
There. Right.
In the answer spot. Because 4 times is not a real number. Okay? So now we have to pay attention to this. So it's this week versus last week. Where's this week's real answer? There. Okay? So now we fill in the blanks. What do we know? We either know last week's or we know the real this week's score. Okay? Or last week's real minutes or this week's real minutes. So now you have to go back up and read this. Everyone read this. Ready? Go. He played 24 minutes this week. Well, it just told you what to fill in. Where does it say this week? Aries? Well, both of these don't have a 4. So which spot does it go in? Last week or this week? Yeah, it goes in the this week spot. He played 24 minutes this week. That means we have to put it right here. You can see already, this is the spot where if you don't slow down, I bet you could picture easily someone going, ooh, I'm going to put 4 times here, and I'm going to put 24 here. Imagine how big your number is. 24 times 4, huge number. I don't think he was playing football that long. Okay? So make sure you're paying attention, slowing down. You all can do this. Imagine how amazing you're going to feel if you pull this off every time and go, they're not going to trick me. All right, so this is the question mark. I'm not going to put it, though. The last week is the question mark. So we can say this. 4 times blank equals 24. Say that. 4 times blank equals 24. But let's also go, oh, we know story words, so let's say 4 times blank, but let's say it all as story words. So ready, go. Door times blank equals 24. And all of a sudden your brain goes, oh, door and Denti 424. Who's the character in the middle? Ooh, look how many hands. There's all like 20 hands. Ben, who's the character with door in Denty Floor 24? The chicks, right? Because they go in the door. So right away, you just figured out quickly, oh, 6 has to go there because I know my story works. Okay, you can see how that works. All right, picture or model. So we took care of the equation, check. What's the easiest way to do a picture or model for multiplication? Make a bunch of what? Circles. How many groups of circles? It tells you 4. Nice, Sierra. So we're just going to do nice, simple circles. So anytime we want to draw a model or a picture, the easiest is just circles and dots or circles and towers. So there's 4 groups. How many are IEG in each group? William? 6 in each. Look how simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in each. Go ahead and do that. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Boom. Done. Nice and just keep these little hints in your head. All right. And last, the solution, the answer. Let's go back up to the question. How many minutes did he play last week? We're all going to say what? He played. Now pause. Ooh. Usually we just go to the answer spot. Here's your other spot. You could write down the wrong number and the whole thing's wrong. Wouldn't that be sad? So even to the very end, we have to slow down and go, okay, where's the number I'm actually supposed to use? How many did he play last week? Look for the last week label. Boom, there it is. 6. So let's write it, see how small you can do it, and see if you can fit it on the line. If not, just write it underneath. How many minutes did he play last week? He played, now I'm looking, last week, right here, 6. 6 minutes, M-I-N, and it was last week. I went back up to the problem like 3 times to answer this. Oh, so close. So close. All right. Imagine this now before we move on to homework practice. What if we didn't have these labels? Think about this. If these labels were gone, I'm covering up with my hand, and all you see is 4 times 6 equals 24, and you had to then try to remember which number is last week, wouldn't that be harder? With the label, look how much easier it was. Oh, there's last week. If those were gone, all of a sudden you just have all these numbers all over the place. And you have to remember which one belongs to last week. That's why the labels are important. So I want to leave you with this. Let's sort of recap. Okay? We create the template and we label it. What do? Create the template and label it. What do? Create the template and label it. If you do that and then slow down and fill in the blanks, you can do this. But you have to slow down. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and do some guided stuff with homework, and then I'll see how you're doing independently with that. Okay, nice job. Give yourselves whoop whoop.